to eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News Weekend Edition.
Good evening, I'm Amelia Lee. Yesterday evening, the annual Fancy Farm took place, where Kentucky lawmakers gathered together to talk to a bipartisan crowd about politics. During the event, Kentucky Congressman James Comer had extra security. According to the Herald Leader, that was because the gunman who attempted to assassinate former President Trump had photos and searches related to Comer on his phone. The paper says a review of the gunman, Thomas Crooks' phone, found those photos. The FBI says Crooks' search history indicated an interest in powerful political figures. No other details of the searches were provided. New FEMA disaster relief centers are opening this month for those affected by the Memorial Day weekend storms. Here's a breakdown of the specifics of FEMA's disasters and efforts in the Commonwealth. On April 2nd of this year, Kentucky residents saw damage from widespread severe storms and tornadoes. Governor Andy Beshear filed for a federal disaster declaration, and it was awarded to the state in late May for those affected. Gregory Boster, spokesperson for FEMA, says they want to help.
FEMA does not discriminate when it comes to financial situations or any kind of demographics. And if you have already used some of your money out of pocket, you still are able to get some aid and recovery, and we may be able to pay you back for what it is that you've already paid out of pocket to get yourself going.
While the first round of eligibility to receive FEMA aid has closed, in late July, Kentucky received another federal disaster declaration from the storms that reached us on Memorial Day. For those storms, there will be individual and even public assistance available, with some counties qualifying for both.
Well, for the last week, we've been singing Rain, Rain, Go Away, and finally it has. It's sunny outside. It's good news. Taking a look at our Buffalo Mountain Cam, it's clear outside. A few clouds out there, but as you can see, just looks beautiful outside. And it's the same story here in Hazard as well, because look, 86 degrees, clear. Not much to worry about. Temperatures everywhere across eastern Kentucky. Do have a 90 out in Somerset, so that is going to be the first 90 in eastern Kentucky today, but everywhere else sitting around 86 to 85. Harlan and Middlesboro both sitting at 88, just a little bit warmer there. Pinpoint Doppler, though, staying all clear. We did have one little shower up towards Paintsville, but that is starting to die down. But other than that, staying clear for the rest of your night. Amelia?
Thank you, Drake. Looking forward to some of that warm weather. One church in Barberville is at risk to being torn down for a road expansion project. WYMT's RJ Johnson shares how people in the community are sticking together to fight against losing their church.
For Michelle Johnson, Wayman Chapel is more than just a church.
It means everything to me. I have been in this church since I can remember. Probably my first memory maybe was 2 or 3 years old here in the church. I've been a lifetime member here.
However, back in April, Johnson, along with other community members, learned the church could soon be torn down.
What I was feeling outraged. When I heard the news, I just really got very upset.
If this church gets torn down, it tears out the whole community, the whole memories of where the Rosenwald community was at. This church has served a lot of people with a lot of different things through the years, but all of our members just about have passed on.
It is a part of a project to expand the road on Highway 3439 to prevent further pedestrian deaths. Johnson says they were never notified about the project and only learned about it through a surveyor that was at the church. She says they were also offered $25,000 by the state to relocate. However, they declined.
All money is not good money. He said, well, you know, it's a done deal. I said, well, y'all might say one thing, but God says another.
Johnson and other community members with or without ties to the church gathered and came up with a way to try and save their place of worship.
It takes a whole village, and we are the village. We're going to fight with everything that's in us to keep this church.
Marching around and making their voices heard led to Keith Green, who works in community action.
When something happens to one, it's so important that we come together in numbers to build strength, because sometimes they can be forgotten.
Green says he's using his voice into sharing their message.
In my involvement in the community, I go to a lot of chamber meetings. I get to go to a lot of community meetings, and so I spread the word.
Johnson says they have notified Representative Tom Odell Smith, who has been helpful through this situation.
Said he would do everything that he could, because said this was his project and that he could stop it.
However, since then, Johnson says they have not heard anything.
And until we see something in writing, we don't know what to do. But once it's in black and white and in writing that they're not going to tear our church down, we'll be okay.
Green says their voices are starting to be heard.
I was so encouraged to hear that, okay, yeah, it is working. People are starting to make waves.
However, they are not going to stop for Wayman Chapel as well as other places.
This will affect everyone. While Wayman Chapel has history that not everybody knows about, the next place could be someone else's churches, somebody else's school, somebody else's property. And if we as a community as a whole don't make a stand, then we can all fall one by one like dominoes.
A community coming together for something bigger than themselves. In Barberville, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Johnson says the group is not opposed to the project itself, saying the state can take part of the driveway, but they just do not want their church to be torn down. Tonight, a Laurel County church is having a back-to-school bash. WYMT's Caroline Mueller has the details on this evening's festivities.
Faith Assembly of God Church in London is helping get kids ready and get excited for the school year. They are giving away backpacks and school supplies to hundreds of students. They also have food, treats, inflatables, and even a petting zoo. All of this for free. Volunteer Kayla Carson says it's all about the kids.
If we all come in on the same foot and everyone has a backpack, everyone doesn't feel like they're less than, coming in confident, that's half the battle. And knowing that they're loved, not just at school, but by our church and our community, that's what we really want to push for right now.
The bash kicked off just a few minutes ago at 6, but don't worry, festivities will continue until 8. So there is still plenty of time to get out here and join in the fun. In London, Caroline Mueller, WYMT Mountain News.
Organizers say anyone is welcome to stop by the church for school supplies or just to hang out for some summer fun before the school year kicks off. We'll check back in on how the event went tonight at 11. After the weather put a stop to the Hazard North to East Main Yard Sale extravaganza on Saturday, folks decided to give it another try today. WYMT's Austin Hicks was in Hazard for the sale.
Shoes, clothes, bags, and anything in between. Those were some of the items you could find during the first North to East Main Yard Sale extravaganza. The sale also gave the community a chance to come together.
I built a lot of my friendships and community here with clothing swaps, and so that's how I've met a lot of my friends and a lot of the young people around here, is just trading our clothes, going thrifting, going to yard sales, and so it's just really awesome to see the community put this together for everyone.
It was a way to fill up the weekend with a fun activity on a hot summer day.
People say that we don't have a lot to do here, but we find these ways to create community on our own, and just putting on Facebook events where it's everybody come out and come sell your stuff, come to this yard sale. So it's just really fun to see the sense of community built in that different kind of way.
While the sale was the main focus in Hazard, other folks in the community wanted to find ways to make the event even better. Hazard native Jamie Huff saw people doing yard sales and says he had something different to offer.
Food and yard sales, it just goes together. You see somebody, you out yard and selling on the weekend, you see somebody set up with a lemonade stand or a little old backyard grill slinging some burgers. You're like, that'd be good.
People showed their support for the first of its kind event. After the rain ended the shopping on Saturday, people filled the streets to go thrifting on Sunday. In Hazard, Austin Hicks, WYMT Mountain News.
The North to East Main Yard Sale is the newest of several other yard sale events that's hosted here in the mountains of eastern Kentucky. Coming up, a couple says they are the perfect match in more ways than one. We have their story on the way.
The heat is back and it looks to impact the start of the week. I'll have the forecast on how long that trend lasts in your first alert forecast.